All right, I think most everybody's read it. What do you think?
I think animal controls are not just a problem at our agency.
It is amazing of some of the biggest complaints I've seen are animal welfare issues. And whether or not we have animal welfare, is animal welfare on call? Are we supposed to send out an officer? Is it after hours? What do they come out after hours? Yeah.
When in doubt, ask them.
Huh?
When in doubt, ask them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and there's so much, and Maxine would have avoided so much trouble. The old when in doubt, tell them. When in doubt, send them out. It worked 25 years ago. It works well today, but she takes on this additional responsibility of making these decisions herself.
I think sometimes we do get caught up in that, though. Absolutely. And then you got to remember to reel yourself back in. And why am I taking on this responsibility?
Yeah. Right. So many times we get reeled up and taking on this responsibility, and you, like you said, you got to just take a step back and say, why am I accepting this? Yeah.
Told when I started off as a dispatcher when I was first out of the academy. My first job was with Chelsea dispatching. I was told by a veteran dispatcher from their agency, we dispatched fire as well. So you had to fire and medical, you had to know when to tone out the fire department. And now she always said, when in doubt, tone them out. You'll never get in trouble by sending them too many people, right, but you can get in trouble by not sending them. So it's just like, you know, why even put that on yourself? Just put it back on them. That's their job.
Yeah.
Dispatch the call. If they choose not to go, then that's on that person.
How do you think it's written?
Wordy.
It's a little confusing.
Yeah, it's hard to follow. A lot of blah blah.
Yeah, a lot of blah blah. It's probably a good way of putting it. A few errors. You know, the time sequence I like, but there's all this blah blah with the time sequence that a lot of it, is it really necessary? Is it really needed? You know, one good thing I do like about, you know, so many of our complaints, you know, all this stuff is recording, and I've always, you know, if we're submitting it up for whatever's going to happen, is I've always liked attaching copies of the incident, because, you know, when we talked about that first one, that uncaring attitude, it's one thing to write it, it's another to attach it to the incident. And they can click on it now and listen to it and go, oh yeah, now I know exactly what he's talking about. But I'm still with you in your first statement. That needs to be explained a lot more in the written part as well. And a lot of the audio tape will probably make this a lot more explainable. But yeah, I'm with you. It's probably a lot too wordy.
For what? You know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, you know, some of us try to do 4 pages when 1 page would have covered it. And there's probably a little bit of that in here. You know, 1 page, down and dirty. Sometimes we can do it, we need more, but this one probably doesn't need much more than a page. No, certainly not more than 2 in this incident. Other thoughts? You know, when we start talking about these types of incidences, and we kind of alluded to it earlier, but I didn't follow up on it, there's a time and a place to record statements. You know, most of the time we didn't, but occasionally if we were doing something that was very serious, we'd record statements of people. And sometimes as a supervisor, if I want to send a message to an employee that this is serious, you call them in, you bring out that tape recorder, and you hit the record button, and you started off as today's date is October 8th. Currently president is myself, Tony Harrison, Supervisor Tony Harrison, Supervisor Allison Smith, employee Jonathan Jones. We are conducting an official investigation into actions that occurred on October 6th at approximately 1862 hours. An employee that comes in and, you know, we're sending a message that this isn't just the you were rude call, and me as a supervisor, I'm going to sit down with you and we're going to talk a little bit about your rudeness. Their pucker factor went from 2 to 10. really, really fast. So, I mean, there's a time and a place that, you know, as supervisors, we need to send a message that this is serious. And we need to take it seriously. And I've always, there's almost no better way than let's record it, you know. And what was interesting, I was recording one with one employee. It was some big investigation over something she had done. And she didn't say much during the recording part. We finished the meeting, got her more information. I go home. The next day she calls me at home, wants to tell me more info. I'm like grabbing my pen and started taking notes about this telephone call.
More than likely, the person you're talking to's got their phone in their pocket and they're recording it anyway.
Yeah, you certainly need to be aware of that in those type of circumstances that they're now recording you.
We have a department policy on that.
Yeah.
You have to announce.
Yeah, in some states, you know, in some states you have to announce that you're recording someone. In other departments, you know, it's one-party consent, especially on phone calls. If I'm sitting in a meeting and I'm recording it, it's pretty obvious. And I would never record it, an employee in this type of situation unless I had to, without their knowledge. I'll put it right out on the table so they know it, that they're being recorded. Unless there's some reason why we have to record it without their knowledge. And I hate to say that I would never do it because, you know, someone gets into one of these investigations where we do need to do it. So, but that should be an extreme rarity. Other thoughts?